Hello, you're listening to Questboard, a podcast where we make up random side quests. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Tiffany. And just so you know, we are not professional writers in any way, shape, or form. At least we don't claim to be. We just really like tabletop RPGs, and we do this for fun.
That's right. Hey, Tiff.
What's up?
Have you ever, had a moment where, you do something or anything like that, and then later, I thought of a better idea to do?
Every single day.
Okay, a little harsh, but okay.
I'm always thinking back on conversations like, I should have said this instead.
Oh, everyone does that.
Exactly. It's why I do that all the time.
I repress those parts. For conversations because it's cringe of me, usually. But the other day, I was editing for our episode 2 episodes ago. All Dogs Get Rescued. You know, the ones where they kidnap dogs and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and we did the Vengeful Archangel.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was editing it, I was like, as some thought appeared in my mind, I'm like, I thought a better one. Better idea. So if you want to listen to that episode, and then I could just give a quick idea that I had.
All right, everyone, pause this episode, go listen to that episode, and then come back to this one.
Welcome back. Okay. Or should I put some wait music for a little quick for that?
Some
and then
elevator music.
Yeah, and then welcome back.
All right, everyone, pause this episode, go listen to that episode, and then come back to this one.
Welcome back. So I had an idea of what if instead of an archangel or anything like that, it was just a dog that had a headband of intellect.
Oh no.
And he was just trying to round up all the dogs to start a dog revolution.
Dog revolution or
an
just...
uprising or,
Would it even be an uprising? Would it just be he's just trying to give them all a place where they can all live together and form their own community?
I thought it was funnier of just uprising.
Uprising
revolt,
is also fun too.
But then as I was just now explaining this, I realized that's kind of an episode of Rick and Morty. I just realized that. Do you not remember that meme of where's my balls, Summer?
Oh, yeah.
That was the episode where Snowball or the family's dog was given the intelligence helmet by Rick, and then it just led to an uprising and they were all mechanized.
The fun part is I've actually watched all of that show. I just don't remember most of it. It's like a fever dream for me.
You don't remember a lot of things.
Fair.
I just realized, oh my God, yeah, I just came up with a Rick and Morty episode.
You should be a writer for Rick and Morty then.
No, I kind of don't want to. It's too much pressure.
Yeah, that is.
Because the fan base, the fan base.
They have specific expectations.
They do. Anyways, yeah, I thought I'd just bring up I came up with a different idea that's a lot more silly and funny compared to our previous idea.
And it's a good idea because apparently it's been made into a TV show. So
I mean, it's just there's no such thing as original ideas.
No, there isn't.
I've been saying it for years.
That's okay. And it's always okay to come up with a new idea to overwrite your old ideas. Doesn't invalidate your old idea. It just means you like this new one a little bit more and you're going to go with that instead. But the old one could still be a thing too.
I'm just saying that it popped in my head while I was editing the episode.
I know.
But yeah.
So now you've given DMs 2 possible options for that prompt.
One that's a lot more silly.
Yes. So if you're having a silly campaign, definitely do the headband of intellect?
Yeah. And the dog revolution.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty silly.
And maybe the farm dog that you went out to search for is second in command. And is actually wants to do the revolution.
Yeah, he's actually a part of this and he's like, I'm not going back.
Or whatever accent you want to give him.
That wasn't an accent. That was just me saying I'm not going back.
Oh, it sounded like you're trying to do somewhat of a farmy, farmer voice.
That's just how I talk.
Okay.
Joking.
Moving
it could have
along.
been. I unintentionally do accents. It happens a lot.
Anyways, that is all I brought to today's banter. I can't think of anything else that's going on.
I mean, yeah. I don't have too much going on in my life to talk about, so that was good.
It's either that or me talk about Expedition 33. I'm really enjoying that game.
It's a beautiful game.
Anyways, I guess we'll just make a quest then.
Let's make a quest.
One that we will be proud of in the beginning and won't come up with random things later on. I don't know. Or we could.
And today's quest...
We are actually doing a monster spotlight.
Yes.
So we're going to learn about a new monster today.
Yeah. So, Brandon, do you have dice?
Yeah, what do I have to roll? It's been a while.
We usually start with a D4 to give us a list 1 or list 2 option. So 1 and 2 will be list 1, 3 and 4, list 2.
Okay, so list 1 then.
All right, we got list 1, and I need you to roll D100.
24.
24. That gives us a Carrion crawler, page 37 in the monster manual.
Oh my god.
What do we got?
Look at him.
It's like a large centipede, but it's got
it looks like a
on
larva.
Its face. Yeah, it's got a larva like face, but it's got really long fat body and all these tentacles coming off of its face, kind of like
it's a large monstrosity.
Mind flayer. Ooh.
It's a 2x2 creature.
Oh my, it's big.
It's big. Challenge rating of only 2 though.
Oh.
Carrion crawlers scour putrid flesh from carcasses and gobble the slimy bones that remain.
Ugh.
So they're part of the ecosystem, you know?
Yeah, they're like the vultures of D&D.
More like maggots.
But
it looks closer to a maggot.
It does look closer to a maggot. You are correct.
They aggressively attack any creature that trespasses on their territory or disturbs their feastings.
Angry maggot.
Angry maggot. Anything in D&D is an angry version. Carrion eaters. A carrion crawler follows the scent of death to its food and prefers not to compete with other scavengers. These foul creatures thus hunker down in territories where death is plentiful, and other carrion eaters have limited mobility. Caves, sewers, dungeons, and forested marshes are favored layers by carrion crawlers, also drawn to battlefields and cemeteries. Ooh. Carrion crawler roams on the hunt, and its tentacles probing the air for the scent of blood or decay. In tunnels or ruins, carrion crawlers scurry across the ceiling as they move towards food. In this way, they avoid contact with oozes and other dangerous inhabitants from the darkness, even as they surprise potential meals that don't think to look up. They're patient predators, whether in subterranean darkness or hunting at night. Light signals a potential meal. A carrion crawler might follow a light source from a distance for hours, hoping to pick up the scent of blood. Despite their giant size, carrion crawlers can easily set up ambushes by waiting around blind corners for prey to come to them. When facing potential prey or intruders, a carrion crawler lets its poison do the work. Once a victim goes rigid with paralysis, the carrion crawler wraps around its tentacles and drags it away to a high ledge or isolated passageway where it can kill it safely. The monster then presumes patrolling its territory while waiting for its meal to ripen.
Okay, so it does hunt living things
in its territory, but then just lets it decay.
Okay, I was wondering about that because I'm like,
kills them and then lets them rot.
Lovely.
Yeah, they could spire climb, all that stuff. Their tentacles are the things that give poison damage.
Yeah, I was looking at the stat block. Like the bite has no poison damage; it's the tentacles. I found that interesting. And they do have a multi-attack, so they attack with the tentacles and then they bite. They also have a keen smell, so they had advantage whenever they're smelling for things.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And dark vision.
Which also makes sense. So, what do we want to do? We're going to make a quest that's centered around these things. But it seems like they don't hunt in groups or anything like that. They're isolated hunters.
Yeah.
Or scavengers.
Right. So this would be a pretty early on quest.
Yeah, it could be
lower level.
A good challenge for like beginner adventures.
I definitely want to use that bit you said about that they track their prey by light. Like they'll follow light for miles just to find what it is they're looking for.
I was attracted to the part where it's like they've been known to also be drawn to battlefields or cemeteries. Like what happens if we do a battlefield?
Okay.
Because it's a great way to like start a group off is if they're forced together, banded together to basically clean up after like major battles.
Okay.
And what happens if that is a known thing in this fantasy world? And so that's why they have to have small adventuring crews, but they're not going to put their A-listers because they need to be rested for the next fight with the rival nation.
Okay. So the initial quest is clean up after battle. Like, collect all of the dropped weapons.
Collect gears, and because that's money.
Any fallen, like, the people who've hired them will probably want them to gently move their allies, but then make a pile of the enemy and burn it or something. It's like maybe they were fighting a horde of goblins or something, and they're like, okay, all the goblins throw in that pile over there. Any soldiers of ours that you find, please bring over here and line them up so we can get a head count.
Oh, we could attach to your light idea weapons if, like, they were told, hey, you can't do this, like, you can't have any torches.
Yeah, no lights.
No lights. But then they think, oh, it's because they don't want the enemy army to see or anything like that, or it might be like superstition.
Right, but in reality, it's because they don't want to attract a carrion crawler.
Yeah, and
but
they're afraid that we could say is they're afraid that if they told them about said dangers of a known thing,
yeah, they wouldn't take the quest.
They wouldn't take it. Or the players could be newer recruits or, bomb recruits in the army.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they get formed together as a group.
Gotcha.
But I could also say there's multiple cleanup crews.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of them just didn't care, lights a torch and all that stuff.
So if the party doesn't do it, someone else does. And then the party could see them
from a distance, them being attacked by this huge worm-like creature. Then we could turn this into a horror session.
Yeah.
Which sounds kind of cool because it's just a giant grub.
It is. A giant grub with tentacle face.
Eldritch grub. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I really like that. I feel like if they are like piling up the enemy or like making a stack of like all the goblin bodies or something, the carrion crawler would definitely go for that. That can be like one story beat type thing. Like if they can lure it close enough to that, it'll go after that instead of all the living things because it wants dead meat.
But then again, it says it doesn't like when they encroach on territory. So what happens if there's like a couple or something like that, but then the party gets too close? Like it's already feasting on some of the bodies that's on the battlefield.
Okay.
In which them getting too close, according to the text I read, they do still attack.
True.
So they might be viewing the party or these scavenging parties as threats in their territory because they now establish this field as their territory.
Yeah, that could be the case.
Because they think, oh, they're going to take the bodies away. They take away my food.
Yeah, don't take away my feast.
Yes. So it could be like that. And in the middle of the night, using a torch or anything like that would just attract them.
Right.
Because you don't really have the scent, like the smell of death or decay. So they're not going to be fully aware of you, but distant light, yes.
So it doesn't say anywhere if this thing is nocturnal or whatever the word for awake during the day is. What is that one?
I actually don't know that word.
Huh.
Normal.
Yeah. I know diurnal, which is awake in the evening and early morning. What's the word for being awake during the day? I was wrong. Diurnal is the opposite of nocturnal.
So you did know the word.
I just didn't know what it meant. Yeah, living in the light.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about if they're nocturnal. It just says that they primarily hunt at night or in subterranean darkness. They rely on the darkness.
Okay, it says they primarily hunt at night then. So the main rule for getting this done could be don't work at night.
I think if it was like during a battle fight or anything like that, it's usually evening, end of day into night is when they send out because they don't. That's the only time for actual scavenging parties to actually get stuff.
I was going to say, not necessarily during the battle. I was thinking this would be after the battle.
Yes, but battle usually happens crack of dawn, start of the day. Battles last like most of a day.
I know. But I'm saying this could be the next day.
Well, the next day they're going to fight again.
No, I was saying the war is over.
Oh, no. I'm talking about like it's still during a war.
Okay.
A battle is a single battle.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just because one side won a battle does not mean the war has won.
I know. I was saying this was the end of it. And I'm thinking of it as a small war, like just between like one castle or something and a horde of goblins.
I mean,
not like a full out war.
If you want to do a constant conflict so you could have constant work for your party, if you want to go in the military route, it's a great way to just constantly have things for them to do.
Okay, so it's nighttime cleanup. But they're not allowed to use torches. So anyone who doesn't have dark vision is screwed.
Yes. But that is what hopefully the party will assume is because the enemy forces could see them and it'll be easy pickings.
True. Yeah.
Or whatever enemy force it is. Either that's another nation or goblins or whatever.
Right.
In which they don't realize it really attracts the carrion crawlers.
Yeah.
But if they get close to them or like near them feasting because they're feasting at that moment because dead bodies, then they'll get attacked anyways. And it'll be a nice, tense horror situation.
I just looked up goblins. They do have dark vision, so they would have a chance of seeing them still.
Well, how far is their dark vision?
60 feet, normal.
Yeah. Battlefields are a lot bigger than 60 feet.
That is true. They are quite large. So they could say, hey, don't go
and usually
past this point. But
usually
no
the camps are like up to half a mile away from the actual battlefields.
That's true.
Because that's where they store all their provisions.
Yeah.
You don't want that really close to a battlefield.
No, you don't. One thing we can include, which I always thought this was a really cool phenomena. I can't remember what it was called, but there is a phenomena that used to happen on battlefields where soldiers who were wounded, their wounds would actually start glowing at night.
I actually don't know that phenomena.
So it was a type of actual like little maggot that would be eating the dead flesh in their wounds, and it had bioluminescence.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I can't remember what the phenomenon was called, though, because they started calling it, the angel's glow, because it actually helped them find, like, all of their dead soldiers at night.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So that could actually come into play here with the party looking for bodies to clean up and stuff. They could see a faint glow and be like, oh, what's that? But that could also be how the carrion crawler finds them.
Well, I'm pretty sure the carrion crawler finds them through the scent of death, like it says.
True.
If you want to add that, sure. I feel like the party is going to be tasked with just getting gear.
It wasn't maggots. It's a soil bacterium. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just, I found an article about it. So yeah, it's a bacteria that starts to feed on the decaying flesh, and it produces its own light.
Interesting. So is there anything else for us to add? Because they would get attacked by it or anything like that. And that's, they'll have to kill at least one to get, out of there.
Most likely.
And all that stuff.
Because, like, if they go too deep, they might end up accidentally surrounded by them, and the carrion crawler just hasn't noticed them yet. But then as soon as it does, like, oh no, we're surrounded by these things.
Well, we can't have multiple. One, they never talk about it being a pact or a feast on others.
And they would probably attack each other if they ended up in each other's territory.
So it's a one monster kind of thing. That's why it's like this
one shows up. But maybe like if they go out too far, it gets between them and
that's why I was implying
people
that
they need to get back to.
The other like scavenging party has a torch and they gets attacked by a different one kind of thing. So it shows the threat.
Gotcha.
And be all scary and spooky.
It might even be the same, like just the one, not a different one.
Maybe, but
because, like you said, they're territorial. There probably wouldn't be more than one there.
True, but I would say the stench of a lot of decaying bodies would attract multiple.
It could. And if the party can lure them to attack each other...
That's if they're knowledgeable about this, because to be fair,
right.
I've never heard of this creature.
I have by name, and I actually thought it was going to be more like the things from Avatar: The Last Airbender that look like giant... mosquito eaters, or what's the crane fly is what they're actually called. They don't actually eat mosquitoes, by the way.
Yeah, I actually knew about that.
Yeah.
But we always call it that.
Yep. But now I try to use crane fly because, well, they are.
So is there anything else for us to add? Because they fight them, they could choose to continue scavenging, or they could choose to go back and say, hey, we got attacked.
How about a random reward if they do kill it? As in, it swallowed something, and as it's dying, it like chokes up this shield or sword or something that it accidentally ate with a body, like a piece of armor that, when cleaned off from all the goo, is actually, kind of decent. Like something that would be good for a member of the party.
If you want to do that, I think it'll be because I don't know. This is real early. I don't know about giving like magical items or anything like that.
Not necessarily magical, but maybe just like a slightly better piece of armor or something than what the party already had, or a bag of money.
But
like it swallowed something that you could gift your party.
I was thinking maybe for the initial quest, like or the job that was given, it's like they get paid per how much equipment they bring back.
Oh, that's
so
fair,
if they get attacked, they could have a chance. They know the threat. They have a chance. Do you stay longer to gather more things to get more money?
True.
But then creates a chance of you encountering another one.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you go back now and call it a night?
Yeah.
That kind of situation.
Mm-hmm. And they
it
could
leaves
also
a choice for them.
If the thing like coughs up a piece of equipment, they could bring that back and like they could be like, "Oh, we thought this was lost forever. You get a bonus." Because it's like, I don't know, maybe they're leaders' insignia or something.
By the way, I just read about its poison conditions.
Oh.
It says the target must succeed a DC 13 Constitution saving throw or be poisoned for 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Until the poison ends, the target is paralyzed.
So there could be some random paralyzed people out on the field. Like maybe they come across another party that's just paralyzed and it's left them there to die and rot. And they're like, what's up with you guys? Well,
like, that's if they encounter, if they chase after the other party that's a little further away.
You can imagine a party being like, what happened to you guys?
Yeah, well, I'm saying like I said before, the side NPC party that lights a torch because they didn't care, and then they see them get attacked. Well, if they choose to go over there.
The way I imagine that happening is they'll see the torch light, it's really far away, and then they see it get snuffed out and hear screams. That's it. They don't actually see the carrion crawler.
Okay.
So that gives a little bit more suspense.
Look at you being all horror.
Yeah.
Then if they go over there, then they could see that they're paralyzed and all that stuff.
And be like, what happened? They can't talk. They're paralyzed.
Yes. Technically, it only says for 1 minute, but then lore-wise, it says that it paralyzes them and poisons them so that they die.
Yes.
So we're going to do the whole rules for thee, but not for me kind of situation where the NPCs will die from this poison.
Mm-hmm.
But if the party goes through this, they won't die, obviously.
Right.
Okay. Because I just realized it gives two conflicting things. It's poison / paralyzed for only 1 minute.
Yeah.
Anyways, I keep asking, do we want to add anything? Because we haven't added anything.
No, but I mean, we've added a little bit of story flair for suspense.
Clarity. We added clarity.
It's a really kind of like almost cut and dry scenario. You're looking for bodies. This thing wants the bodies. You got to fight the thing for the bodies.
I think that's one of the problems with low-level monsters that we're trying to base a quest around.
Yeah, we can't make it too difficult.
Yeah, because it's for low-level players.
Right. So what level would you say this is good for? Like 1 to 2 or?
I think this will be a cool. Hang on.
Because they've got 51 base hit
D4
points
and 2D4. Those are its attacks.
Yeah.
I would
plus
say
2 each.
Probably level 2.
Yeah.
And so that just in case they stick around for longer and encounter another one, they'll might have a chance.
Well, okay. So I always get confused about how challenge rating works. So it's for a fair fight for a base party of 4
at that level.
Yes. So a party of 4 level 2 players should be able to fight this thing, and it's a fair fight.
Yes.
If they're level 3, it's an easy fight. If they're level 1, this is a very hard fight. So it'll be interesting. So roughly 1 to 3. It's an easy fight for 3s.
I would probably start the campaign if I knew that this was like their first encounter and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably have them start as level 2 or 3. If it was 3, then I would make it more often that they'll encounter at least one additional one.
Gotcha.
Actually, it depends on how the first fight went.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually start molding the chances based off of that while still trying to maintain the suspense.
Gotcha. Make it more like a dynamic encounter type thing.
Sort of. Make it more intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
If, let's say, the first fight was breeze and all that stuff, then I would tip the scales in which it'll be more likely that a second one will appear.
There you go.
But if they're like on their last legs, if you roll 1, then I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's on you.
Yeah. The dice want you dead. I'm sorry.
Some days the dice really do want you dead. And those days is when my husband throws a die in the trash can.
Yeah, that was funny. We talked about that multiple times.
It's like, I'm a dice hoarder. I could never throw one away like that. But
I spend money on like quality dice. I know how much those dice are. I can't throw away them.
Yeah, but that one did like, he had advantage and he got 2 ones, and then he rolled another 1. It's just like that was not being a nice die that day.
But yeah, if this is sort of a party starter.
Kind of, sort of. It's a monster spotlight that turned into a party starter.
A little hybrid.
Yeah.
I could see, because I would love to do a campaign where it starts off or a major like war like that, because that is a great way to give jobs to players.
It really is.
Because they always need things for the war effort.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really interested, like, that we came across a monster that's all about decay and just harvesting bodies.
I mean, it's literally in the name, Carrion.
And like battlefields. And I thought, I never thought about like all the dead bodies left after a battle.
Yeah, most people don't
fantasy
like to think
creatures
about that.
would be a part of that ecosystem?
Right. Not just vultures and giant vultures, but we also have carrion crawlers.
Yes. Or ravens. Ravens also eat the dead.
Yes, they do.
So yeah, this is a cool fantasy version that I didn't realize was a part of that kind of ecosystem. And it makes me want to actually have a campaign where it's like centered around a war.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
I have to look up more random creatures for stuff like that.
We just need to do more monster spotlights.
Maybe. I don't know how many of those creatures are for like battlefield stuff.
They could always be tweaked a little bit.
True. Homebrew.
Homebrew's fun.
Anyways, I guess we'll call it here then.
Yeah, sounds good.
If you put this in your campaign or start your campaign with this,
Either or.
Let us know down in the comments of this YouTube video or on X at QuestBoardPod or on Blue Sky at QuestBoard. If you have a normal quest posting for our normal episodes.
Or if you can think of any other creatures that would show up on a battlefield, let Brandon know.
Oh yeah, give me some other things so that I could construct a campaign on, because I'll always do that. I have like 5 campaigns in my back pocket right now. I don't know if I'll ever use them, but they're fun to think up.
They are.
So yeah, let us know on any of those sites. And I think with that, I wish you all a good night.
And happy questing.